Hey, we should be live. I sure hope we are. Hello to anyone who's joining us on the actual live. And if you are out there, can you let me know if you can hear me? Just so that I can get a quick check. I've got Emre, if I'm saying that right, who's with us live. And hopefully we'll have a few more. I'm going to get started momentarily because the embargo has just lifted off of all the new Google devices that Google launched in its Made by Google event last week, I think it was. Hello, 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 hello. Got some people joining us for the live show. Very exciting. A calm wash is over. Can you folks hear me? You can, loud and clear. Okay, perfect. At least I know this is actually working. Volume is great. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, well, I've got some really cool stuff to show you, and this is the first time I've been allowed to show you. Google embargoes its reviews up until a certain point. So, literally, the embargo lifted a couple minutes ago, and I get to show you now what some of the new Google devices look like. I will start out by saying thank you to Google. They did send me these devices so that I could share them with all of you, both in this live stream and in my product reviews, my full reviews, which are going to be coming out probably in the next 24 hours. I'm going to start on that when I'm done this. So we get our first look at all of the new things they launched. I want to say hello to all of you who are joining from all over the world, apparently. Fantastic to see you. And I will be heading to Germany myself in just a couple of days. I'm going to be at the big IFA tech show in Berlin, which starts a week Friday, I guess it is. So that's pretty exciting. It's my first time at that show in Berlin, so I'm really looking forward to it. And if you guys are out there and you want information from that show, you want to know what I'm up to, let me know. Let me know what you might be looking to learn or hear about. And I'd love to post some content and some comments while I'm over there. So that's going to be really exciting. So Germany is coming up. Hi to Dave. Very good. We've got lots of people. We've got some folks joining us from the UK. Hello there. Fantastic. And Jeffro is with us. I just want to give a nice shout out to everybody who's joining us as much as possible. I'm going to try and keep one eye on the comments here while I'm live, as well as obviously trying to show you the new devices. So, and I will We've got lots of folks actually here who are getting some of these new devices who've actually placed the orders. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so you should be able to get hands-on with them pretty quickly. Okay, I am going to move things along for us and give you your first look. There we go. All right, and I will also add that if there are things that you want to see in particular about the devices, if there's a feature you want me to try and demo, I'll do my best. I've got them kind of right here in front of me so I can reach everything. It should be easy to get at. But I think the first thing I'll do is give you a quick look at what everything looks like, and then we can dig deeper in on some of these devices so you can see what's going on. What should I start with? What are you guys most interested in? I've got the Google Pixel 10 Pro smartphone in the new mint green color, which is pretty cool. I also have, these aren't so much new as a new color, but the Pixel Buds Pro 2 are here as well. And then this little device is actually pretty cool. This might be one of my favorite new things. This is the Pixel Snap stand, and it's got some kind of neat tricks about it that I'll show you once we get it unboxed and things. So if there is something in particular you want me to start with, the phone, okay, I'll do that. I've got it unboxed over here, so I'm just going to slide these out of here. That one right there. All right, friends, there it is. That is the Pixel 10 Pro. So a couple of things that really stood out to me about it initially are, I'm not sure how much you can see it, the big camera bump. So Google's kept that big camera array, and it is substantial. I'm trying to get a good angle for you there. But with the case on, I will say it's actually not nearly as noticeable. So you've got that really nice glass back. I love the chrome accents, the nice shine on the side, and all of the edges are all really kind of soft and, you know, not sharp. Not that they would be sharp. I'll just get it turned on here. Well, wouldn't you know that? The battery's dead. I've been playing with this. The battery's dead. Give me a minute, it'll charge quickly. I've been playing with this over the last couple of days and trying out a lot of the features. So how's that for a cliffhanger? I'm going to have to put this over to charge up for just a little bit. And we'll start with something else. So that is a cliffhanger for you. You'll have to come back and stick around to get the details on the Pixel phone. In the meantime, let's swap things up here. I'm going to go with the new Pixel Buds Pro 2. And like I said, these are not so much a new product as they are a new color. So the Pixel Buds Pro 2 came out last year and quickly became some of my favorite earbuds. Generally, I don't love earbuds because they tend to be really uncomfortable. Google has gone a really long way into trying to make these a lot more comfortable. So let's take our first look here at this new special new color. The new color is called, what do they call it? Moonstone. It's kind of a blue-gray, I guess you could say. It's a nice matte color. I actually quite like it. And they've also kept the little case here. Dave, thank you. It totally is, apparently. It is amateur hour. So Google has kept the case, that pebbly soft, really smooth case. Thanks, Dave. Which I love. I mean, it's so nice to have and to touch, and it feels so expensive, like way more expensive than it is. So I love it. And that like satisfying magnetic snap to it as well is really awesome. So let's get a look at these buds here. They are very much the same, and I hope these don't actually switch over my computer. That would be amateur hour number 2. Yeah, so they're basically very much the same as the, do I have the other? Oh, I do. They're very much the same as the Pixel Buds Pro 2 that I got last year. Essentially similar design, same shape. You can take a look there. It's just really the new color. Now, they do have some new features coming out for these new Moonstone buds, or not, sorry, not just for the Moonstone buds, for all of the Pixel Buds Pro 2. Um, but a lot of them aren't coming until September, so I haven't actually been able to get hands on with them. But I'll go over a couple of the things that you can expect to come with these if you are thinking about placing a pre order. Let's see. Got some thoughts here. Loving the Pixel Buds Pro 2. You have them in winter green. I love that shade as well. Can't wait to get those new features next month. The buds are really comfortable. They really, really are comfortable. And even from the original Pixel Buds to the Pixel Buds Pro 2, they shrunk the size and they shrunk the weight. So they are actually a lot more wearable and supremely comfortable, even if you're wearing them for long periods of time. Um, so one of the things that they're putting in, it's called adaptive audio. And what it's essentially allowed to, or what it's essentially enabled to do, is it listens to the sound around you and it'll automatically adjust the audio if you're in a noisy environment, for example. There's a lot of headphones and earbuds that already can do this. So this isn't really new technology, sort of, but it is new to the Pixel Buds Pro 2. So that's one of the things that's coming. Related, and I'm not really sure why this is a separate feature, but there's something called loud noise protection. So the way that they're describing this is that, you know, if there's a huge bang right beside you or a fire truck drives by you and you're wearing your Pixel Buds Pro 2, it's going to compensate for that loud noise by dulling the audio so it doesn't like blast in through your ears. So, I mean, to me, that sounds like adaptive audio and what adaptive audio should do. It should be able to manage those louder sounds. I'm not quite sure why it's listed as a separate feature, but there you have it. And that is also coming in September at some point. They don't say when, they just say September. Also coming is a kind of neat feature where head tracking. So if you nod or shake your head, you can answer a call or reply to a text. So it uses the accelerometer in those earbuds to essentially figure out what you want the buds to do or what you want your Pixel phone device to do. As far as I understand it, this only works with a Pixel phone. So if you're using it with something like an iPhone, I don't think you're able to get those gestures. But that's the idea behind it. So the hands-free usage with that accelerometer. The other big thing that Google's really trying to do is integrate AI into everything. So a lot of the things about Pixel Buds will integrate really well with the Pixel phones, which I promise we're going to get to as soon as it gets a little battery in it. It's already got some, that's good. That is really hilarious. I can't believe out of all the things I did to prep for this live, not charging the phone was probably the most important thing I should have done. Anyway, so back to the AI. Yeah, Gemini, Google Gemini, which is Google's assistant, is a huge component of all of this stuff. And they're trying to make it so that it's a lot more available in the buds. So you can basically just talk to Gemini and ask for whatever you need, and it's going to connect with your phone to deliver that for you. They're also using that adaptive audio to better integrate with Gemini so that if there is loud ambient noise around you, it shouldn't interrupt Gemini. So that's another of the features coming. Anyone who's ever used ChatGPT, and you know that if somebody says something in the background, like it cuts ChatGPT off, it'll stop talking if you're using the ChatGPT live. So that should be a really interesting feature, and it'll be cool to try it out once it arrives on the Pixel Buds Pro 2 to see how well it does work. Let's see. It's also supposed to start giving you notifications for when your buds or your case are low on battery. So it's not clear to me whether that's going to come as like a verbal alert or something from Gemini, or if it's going to be a pop-up. But it's going to be better low battery notifications, which is hilarious because I could have used that with the Pixel 10 Pro phone, hilariously. So that is the Pixel Buds Pro 2 in a nutshell. And I see that we've got some questions here, so let's take a look. Curious as to how well the Pixel Buds Pro 2 hot switch between devices. I have my Android smartphone and a portable media player separate, so it would be nice to switch between them nearly instantaneously. I totally agree with this. I am often using a device or using my earbuds or my headphones with multiple devices. And I would love it if there was sort of more seamless switching or simultaneous connection almost. I I'm not an engineer. I don't actually know how that stuff works, if it is possible to actually maintain simultaneous connections or not. Maybe that's some technology that'll come in the future if it's not, but that's something I would like as well. Let's see what else we have. Best thing I received this month, the never released Pixel tablet pen. You received this month. I love the pen, works great. ANC on the buds is nice. Also the sound. My Bose QC Ultra earbuds are just better. And speaking of the Bose QC Ultra earbuds, there's a chance I have them here. Maybe not. I just got my hands on a pair of those as well. So that review is going to be coming probably in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to test them out on my trip to IFA Berlin. So see how they work for travel and noise canceling and that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see about those. I'm also going to get some more time here with the Buds Pro 2. And hopefully some of those features start to drop. So that would be really, really kind of cool, I think. So that is the Buds Pro 2, old color and new color, the Moonstone. I really like those. Yeah, Pixel Buds Pro and Pro 2 have been my go-to earbuds for about the last year and a half, 2 years, almost right from the get-go when they first launched them, just because of that amazing comfort and, you know, they're super portable. I love just slipping this into a pocket. They're easy to find because I can reach for that smooth, pebbly case and find it in the bottom of my bag. So that is the Pixel Buds Pro 2. All right. Let's get something else set up here. I actually really want to show you guys, and I know I'm still cliffhanging the Pixel 10 Pro phone, but I really want to show you this new charging stand, the Pixel Snap charging stand. So that's it. Now, the thing that I think is really cool about this, I had the original stand, and it was amazing. It was nice. It was literally more of a stand, though. You had to sort of set a phone onto it. It was almost like an easel. So it didn't have that magnetic contact. This new one, though, does. So there's all kinds of cool things about this. Well, maybe not all kinds, I'm exaggerating, but there's several cool things about this that I want to show you. So this is the new stand, and it is really, really cool. So this part here, this base, this heavy base, take a look here at how much these two things look similar. Like super smooth, rounded edges, pebbly look. Very nature inspired, really cool. So this is actually a heavy weighted base, which is nice. And then you've got your new magnetic charger in there. And it's still got that sort of same kind of easel, leaned back positioning to it. But what I really like about this is it's not just the stand, and it's got USB-C charger. Comes with the cable, of course, but no plug in the box, which I am kind of surprised about. But so many manufacturers are going that way with no plugs for anything. So what are you going to do? But let's take a look at what this does, because it is kind of modular. So you can actually push the magnetic charger out. So you can take this to go. You can use it as a portable charger. And then if you're home, the cable just threads right through the back and it slides in and tucks right in there. Kind of silicone lining, coating, I guess, on it. So yeah, it just really simple, elegant, nice to look at, nice to touch. And I think I'll show you how it works with the phone in just a second, because the new Pixel phones, or the 10 series anyway, does have that magnetic charging now. A lot of us know it as MagSafe or magnetic charging. Sorry, Google, but I used an Apple term. Um, but Google does call it Pixel Snap because it does kind of have that little magnetic snap to it, which is nice. So that is the Pixel Snap charger, which I think is fabulous. And in case you're wondering, here, I'll just show you this. It does actually work for an iPhone 2 or an iPhone also. So it's kind of universal. And if you are looking for a really cool MagSafe or Pixel Snap charging solution, this would work on any phone. So I highly recommend this, even if you don't have a Pixel phone, it's still going to work for you, which I think is fantastic. So that's the new Pixel Snap charger. I think it is time to get into this other device, the one you've been waiting for. Let's set this out of the way. Let's go back to where we were and talk about the phone, the Pixel 10 Pro. And I've got some juice in here now. Yay me. Unlock the phone. So I showed you the back. I had a nice look at it with the camera array. You've got, I think these buttons are actually the same. I have the 9 here, and I'll just put the 9 in there. So it's similar. It looks like they did add a second speaker. There we go. This is the 10 over here, and the 9 is in the pink case. Oops, that's not helpful. So they might have added a second speaker here. I think that's exactly what that is. But otherwise, the body design and the size is exactly the same. What you will see is that the screen size, and I don't think I'll be able to show it to you. Hang on. Unlock. The screen size is actually like a millimeter bigger on the 10 than it is on the 9. I mean, you're probably not really going to notice that. It's a millimeter. So, but there is a tiny, tiny bit more screen real estate. And I'm going to see here if I can boost the brightness on this so you can see. Brightness is actually something else that they've changed on this phone. They've increased the peak brightness, and I want to say it's up to 3,000 some nits. Let me check my notes. 3,000 or 3,300 nits or something. So it is supposed to be kind of among the brighter phone options. I'll find this shortly. I should try and do one thing at a time, either demo the phone or look at my notes. But let's find brightness level. There we go. Okay, now you can actually see this screen. So really nice screen. Again, the layout interface, it's very customizable. It wants to pair with my Pixel Buds Pro. Very customizable. There's Material U, which Google basically allows you to customize the phone any way you want to do it. You can make the apps all match whatever your background is. So that's really one of the fun features of a Google Pixel phone. Let's see what we've got here. Put in a website. Maybe I'll do this. techgadgetscanada.com. So that's kind of what it looks like on screen. Get down there. It's a really nice screen. It's clear. I mean, all of the Google phone screens have been really great. One of the other things about the phone, so there's the Pixel 10 Pro, which is what I have right here. There's also the 10 Pro XL, which is that sort of bigger handset size. I really prefer that larger handset. I just like having more screen real estate to look at. But essentially, there's also some different features in the Pro series and the XL Pro series that you won't get in the regular 10. I only have the 10 Pro here, so that's all I'm able to sort of take a look at right now. but that there's sort of three different options for you if you are looking at the Pixel 10. Um, the other improvements that they made, slightly better camera on the 10 Pro here. Um, Google is calling this its most advanced camera yet. But as far as I can tell, the only thing that's really been upgraded on it is it was the ProRes zoom. So you used to be able to get 30 times zoom out of that, and now it'll actually go up to 100 times. And they've also added image stabilization to the 5-time zoom telephoto lens, which is helpful, as you know, if you zoom into anything, like if you're taking a close-up photo of a flower on a telephoto lens, um, keeping that shake out of it is kind of important. So I don't really have anything here that I can kind of zoom into. I'm in a small space. So to show you kind of that, 100 times zoom, but there it is. So you can sort of go from 1 to 2 to 5 to 10 to 100. And, that's going to be great for really distant shots, panoramas, those kinds of things. If you love photography, I really, really, really love the Pixel phone for people who are interested in photography. And I'm talking more smartphone photography because I know photographers, would always prefer a DSLR camera for the best pictures. But if you're into smartphone photography, I think the Pixel phones are some of the best out there at all. Let's get got a couple questions here, so I'm going to leave that there for 1 second, dive in here. Little off topic. I don't know if any of the latest Google products support wireless charging, but am I a fan in general? It's sort of making a mini comeback, but many find it gimmicky. Wireless charging. Yeah, wireless charging, I don't think it's going away. I think we're coming back to we're not coming back to, we're going to see a lot more utility, I think, out of wireless charging. There's so many companies I've seen at CES, the big tech show in Vegas. I expect to see some at IFA Berlin next week, where they're just integrating charging surfaces into everyday objects. So think about your coffee table beside where you have your morning coffee. And if you could just set your phone on that and it's going to charge no matter where you place it. Similarly, they're working on the same kind of technology in, kitchen counters so that if you set your phone anywhere on your counter, it's going to get a charge. So I actually think that's probably where wireless charging is going. I think it's going to become more useful, but also more seamless. It's going to be less a thing where you have to go and seek out a wireless charging pad to put your stuff down on, and more just anywhere you place your devices, they're going to be able to get charged. So I think that's where that's going. That's a really good question. Do you know if the Pixel 10 Pro Fold will charge on the Pixel Stand 2nd generation? Great question. I have the charger. I would love to use them with the 10 Pro Fold. I like it more than the Pixel Snap Stand. That is a good question. So the short answer is I don't know, but I think what I can do is find out from Google and see if that's going to work. I don't see why it wouldn't, because I think the 10 Pro Fold, if I remember correctly, does support wireless charging. I don't have those notes in front of me. But in theory, it should work. So that is a question I'm going to take away and try and get an answer by the time I do either a full review of the Pixel Snap Stand or the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, which I am hoping to get hands on later this year. It's not quite ready to launch yet, or I shouldn't say that. It's not available quite yet. I think you can pre-order, but I don't think it's shipped yet. I shouldn't maybe say that because I'm not 100% sure. But those are questions I'm going to get answers to. So thank you so much for suggesting those. So Dave, thank you for your comment. You're enjoying what you're seeing. Love to see that. Love to hear that. So let's see, what else do we want to talk about with the Pixel 10 Pro phone? A lot of AI upgrades too in the 10 series. Google's kind of less focused on the hardware and the devices themselves. and more on what they can do and how they can interact with AI. So that's Google's Gemini Assistant. Gemini is, of course, back. There's one feature they're really talking about here, and that's called Magic Q. And if any of you have read about it, it's very interesting. It's what it's supposed to do is essentially, because it has access to your entire life on your phone, it has access to your calendar, your emails, your texts. It knows everything you're up to, right? And I don't mean that in a creepy, you know, weird way. I just mean it. Your whole life is literally on here, so it kind of makes some sense that the phone should be able to access the information you need without you having to tell it. So that's kind of a long-winded way of describing what Magic Q is. So Magic Q, and it's not quite enabled on my demo phone here. I expect to have it available later today. So when I do my full video review that I'll put on the YouTube channel, I will try and get a really solid demo of that feature for you. But what it's supposed to do is essentially if someone texts you and says, hey, what's the address for the party we're going to tonight? When you open that text message to respond, if you have the party in your calendar along with the address for the party in your calendar, the phone should know that and it'll suggest a reply to you in that text message thread by giving you the address essentially. And then you can choose whether or not you want to pass it along in that message to that person who asked. So the way this displays is it'll sort of pop up the message into your thread for you, and it's got kind of like a little light bar almost around the bubble that it would give you. And you can sort of choose to tap to send that and say, yes, that's right, and I want to send it, or no, I want to send my own different reply because maybe you got it wrong. Who knows? But that's Magic Q. So that's kind of an exciting feature that I think is going to be really important for a lot of people, because I think the less we have to do with our phones, the less we have to, tell it absolutely everything to do, and the more we can have an intuitive device that is kind of always with us, always in our hands and always in our pockets, I think the better that's going to be. So that's Magic Q. There's AI photo help coming, which I think, though, to some extent is only available in the US. One of the features, though, that is going to be available is something called Camera Coach. And I really think this is a lot of fun. I'm going to actually see if I can demo Camera Coach for you. So we'll give it something to photograph, and hopefully you guys can see. This is kind of an awkward angle for this. But what photo or Camera Coach does is it will help you take a better photo by helping you frame a better shot. So Camera Coach is up here. You tap this little thing and it's going to find you some options. So there's, what do I call this? There's dedicated options, so it can see what you're trying to take a photo of. So hopefully you can see that. It basically says headphones on patterned surface. So it can see what you're trying to take a photo of. Or you can choose Get Inspired. So Get Inspired, basically the AI in here will give you suggestions kind of at random, give you ideas about how to shoot this differently. Or you could just sort of take the straight up suggestions here, and I'll just take this straight up suggestion. So it's going to prepare some steps for you and then give you, basically give you instructions on what to do and exactly how to frame that shot. So this one basically says reframe it to exclude the box. And then, so what you'll do is reframe it to kind of frame the box out. And then you hit next. Hopefully you guys are still seeing this. Then it wants you to zoom in on the headphones. So it's telling you how to take a better shot. So it may give you multiple steps depending on what it thinks, or it may just give you 2 or 3. So this time it wants you to place the headphones on the rule of thirds line. So it's actually overlaid. You can't really see it there. It's overlaid a grid line onto this so that you can better place it in the frame. So basically at any time you can just tap to take that photo, or you can keep following the steps Oh, and that was the last step. It'll say now take the photo. And then hopefully you should have a much better photo out of this through the coaching. Obviously, my little desk demo here, you get the rough idea. This is going to work really well on a portrait shot or a product shot or something like a landscape. If you're traveling and you want to take some really nice panoramas, that's something that it could really help you with, especially if you're not already a really good photographer. And a lot of us aren't. Photography, you kind of either have the eye or you don't, or you can learn. But that's kind of one of the neat features that it's got. So that's called Camera Coach. What else? Camera Coach. There's also 50 megapixel portrait mode shots now for the camera. Highest resolution portraits of any smartphone is what Google says about that. I did take some photos, and I don't know. Maybe it'll show me here. Hopefully I saved them. Where are the photos? I took a photo of my dog because I really wanted to try this portrait mode out. There she is. Nope. Oh my gosh. How do I? Trying to do something there, Google. There. Okay, so there's the photo of my dog. And I don't think this is going to go well because I'm trying to zoom into it and then hold it up to a webcam for you. But the level of detail on here is pretty great. Individual whiskers, little individual gray hairs on her chin. So that was the portrait mode, and I mean the level of detail is just, it's pretty incredible. It looks really, really good. And again, I'm kind of repeating myself here, but Google Pixel phones have taken some of the best photos I've ever seen. They are just fantastic. So no surprise here that Google is continuing to innovate and to refine and to give us new and more useful features. Got some questions, so I'm going to pause again for some questions. Let's see. Have we had a chance to evaluate the speakers? I think I heard the SIM card slot was removed for better speakers. Let's find out. So I thought the SIM card slot is in the top right here. So, I mean, I want to say it was in the top in the 9. I could actually check. But it is in the top. And when you're talking about better speakers, I don't think you're wrong because there are those 2 speakers now in the bottom, whereas before there was really 1. If you bear with me a sec, I will see if I can find something and play it and give you my quick first impressions. Let's see. Find some YouTube here. All right. Choosing appliances like a washer and dryer pair is a big deal, and you want to choose well. Not only are they an investment, but this is the kind of purchase you can't just run back to the store if you change your mind. Plus, you're likely to have them for years, decades even. So how can you choose wisely? It's a good idea to do what you're doing right now, looking at a review from someone who's been hands-on with them, like me. I'm Erin from Tech Gadgets International, and in this video, trying to get them in the mic there. So to me, they're loud but not overly loud. So you saw that I cranked it basically right up, and I wouldn't say that was overly loud. It was loud and would certainly be annoying to people sitting next to me, but not like blast your ears out loud. And it sounds good. I mean, I've only listened to one thing here, but pretty clear, pretty crisp. Very directional, pointing towards you, which is helpful and kind of where those speakers should be, particularly for people that most often use their phone vertically. So that's cool. So some improvement to the speakers, I think. But I do think Google wants you to listen to these with the Pixel Buds, right? I mean, that's what everybody should be doing, especially if you're out in a public place, in my opinion. But hey, that's me. Got a couple more questions here I want to dive into. So nothing on Google hinting at a potential meta ban Head-band glasses competitor. I'm personally looking at Xiaomi's AI glasses, which are out in China. So hopefully Google has a secret ace up its sleeve. I wonder about that, Dave. AI glasses. I mean, glasses are certainly better, in my opinion, than the goggles that everybody's got. Um, but they're tough. I tried out a pair of AI glasses a few months ago, and I was left pretty underwhelmed by them. I think a lot of companies don't have the horsepower to have the technology to make those glasses truly seamless for people. I found them to be more of an impediment to everything I was doing. I had to stop and reach for my phone to get the glasses to do things, which is not what you want. That's not the point of glasses, right? They're supposed to see for you and help you interact in life. So, uh, but if anybody could do it, I will say I think it's Google. So it would be interesting to see what comes out in the next year or so. I haven't heard much buzz about it. There hasn't kind of been any leaking of information that they're close to something, I don't think. But hey, if they're working on something, like I said, I mean, they've got some of the best talent in the world working at that company. So it wouldn't surprise me if something all of a sudden just, landed in the weeks before Christmas, right? Can't get more meta than listening to Erin Schwartz. Yes, that's true. Uh, I didn't want to put somebody else on TV without their permission, so and thank you for the speaker demo. You are welcome, Jane. Thank you for joining the live stream. Appreciate having you here. Let's see, what else? What else do we want to talk about? I think those are some of the highlights. The AI is the big thing on the phone. So that AI integration, better integration with Google Gemini, where is our Gemini here? I haven't got this phone quite set up yet for my own personal person. So I usually keep Gemini on a shortcut. And where are you, Gemini? I'm also still trying to train myself to look for the Gemini logo. So you guys are probably seeing it go by and going, it's right there. And it is right there. There's Gemini. Gemini is pretty fantastic. Gemini is, I think, one of the better assistants, better AI assistants. It's quick, it's smart, it can help with a lot. I've been enjoying using it in the time that I've spent with it. So Gemini is pretty useful. And being able to integrate that with the buds, for example, as well is really handy. So let's see. We've got the phone, the buds, the Pixel Snap. Oh, the other thing I really thought was cool. So Google, in my mind, is really going after iPhone users and Apple users. They are moving to something that they're calling easy switching this year. So what'll happen is that if you buy a Pixel phone and you buy it through the Google store, you'll basically get an email from Google that says, we're going to help you transition your phone. So start, backing up your data, start doing this. It'll give you some steps to start moving all of your data, your passwords, your photos, all of that stuff before your phone even lands. So that once your phone does arrive to you, the transition process will be that much smarter and faster. The other thing they're also doing with the newer Pixel phones is they're going to teach newer users how to use them. So if you've been using an iPhone for a long time and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to adapt, to a new phone. How do I take a screenshot? What am I supposed to do? The Pixel phone's now going to start giving you suggestions for things like that and teaching you how to use the features of the phone. Similar to what other phones do, but I think that goes a long way to people who are maybe put off switching phones from Apple to Android because they're intimidated by the different operating system and by how differently things work. So I think that is a huge, huge, huge thing. And the easier Google can make it for people to switch away from an Apple device, I think will benefit them greatly. One of the things I've been thinking about is doing a full switch over from an iPhone to a Pixel device, maybe the Pixel 10 Pro Fold or the 10 XL, and just living with it for a month and seeing what that transition is like. So if that's something anyone who's watching this might see or might be interested in seeing, let me know in the comments, and I'll look at putting together a video about that if you think it would be helpful and relevant or interesting. So I think we've covered off most of the highlights of the new Google devices. If anybody has more questions, pop them into the chat, into the comments, and we can wrap things up shortly. I did want to give you one other quick little interesting view here. I'll show you. So this is the Pixel 10 Pro, and that's the original Pixel. So that's my first Google Pixel phone. And the date, you probably can't see it on there, 2016. That was apparently the last time I was on there. So it hasn't connected in a while. But that's the original Pixel phone, and that's how far we've come with it. Look at how much more screen real estate you get on the newer phones, and how much, nicer and brighter and more appealing the screens are. It's kind of funny, right? How far they've come. And yet, from that first phone that I reviewed, I mean, that was still an incredibly impressive phone. I've loved the Pixel phones from the get-go, from the very first time. So I'm not surprised that, this one actually holds up pretty well against the newer phone. So probably more than 10 years later. Has it been actually 10 years, or maybe 10 and a bit? Questions. Tempted by the new Pixel Watch 4, but wonder how much better it will be compared to my current Xiaomi Watch S3. And yes, you are a Xiaomi fanboy. I love the Pixel Watch. Not unlike the phone debacle of earlier today, I haven't charged my Pixel Watch. I wear it constantly. I love the Pixel Watch. This is the Watch 3. And though it won't do anything with an iPhone, when I use it with an iPhone, doesn't matter. Love the watch. Love the Fitbit capabilities that are with it. It works really well for me to keep track of steps and, heart rate and fitness. It is so much better if you have any need for fitness information or general health information. I think it's so much better than an Apple Watch for so many reasons. But I am dying to get my hands on the new Watch 4 and try that out and see what's new, what it's like, what changes have been made, and how that one is. So I should be able to get hands on by to the Pixel Watch 4 a little later this year. They're sort of staggering the product releases throughout the fall this time, so those reviews should be coming as well. NJS, thank you. Pixel 10 Pro looks pretty good, but for $1,000, it shouldn't only start at 128 gigs of storage. Good point. Good point. Thank you for making it. I don't know. I think a lot of us have things stored more on the cloud these days, and I think local storage on a phone is not as mandatory as it used to be. Tell me if you feel differently. Tell me why. I'm curious. But yeah, I mean, having that good storage for backup and things is convenient. So noted, point taken. Almost out of time here. I do want to say that if you enjoyed today's live stream, let me know either in the comments. You can send a super thanks. You can send a super chat if you want. Your support means the world to me for those of you who are watching and have joined or are watching later. So thank you so much for being here for that, and any support you can give to the channel. Yeah, it helps me keep everything running. So that's the reason for it. If there aren't any last questions, though, I will get to work on my full reviews of these devices and report back on some of those special features that I get access to later today. And as some of those features for the buds in particular roll out this fall, I think I might do sort of a delayed review of the Pixel Buds Pro 2, the new version, until those features are live. So later in September. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. I really appreciate you guys being here to support me and sharing your interest in all the new Google devices. That's your first look. Like I said, it's the first look I could legally give you according to the Google embargo. So you guys are among the first in the world to see these devices. So thank you for being here. You guys know you can catch me anytime at youtube.com/Erin Lawrence TV, or just go on YouTube and search Erin Lawrence TV. You can also always find me anytime at techgadgetscanada.com and techgadgetsinternational.com. And I'm all over social media and stuff too. So, like I said, if you guys enjoyed this and you want to see more of this kind of stuff in the future, let me know. I'm here to serve and here to help you guys learn. So I'd love to do that if it's something you're enjoying. All right, that is the end of this live stream. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you on the YouTube channel.